Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Today I'm going to be putting that Ross tensioner on the GTR that I spoke about before. It's in efforts to try to keep the power steering belt on whenever I'm at the track at real high RPM. It likes to throw the belt off. You'll see it's kind of caused a little bit of damage from coming off before. I've had it come off about 3 or 4 times and I was like, that's enough. Tore one belt. I got another one that got lost. So belt number 3, let's figure out a way to fix it. And I think the main reason that that's happening is because I swapped over to a fluid amper balancer and it doesn't quite line up with the power steering pump. So I'll show you that real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. And then we'll go through the install process of that tensioner and see how it goes. So let's go over here and open up the hood and get started. All right, so the only damage that I had happen was I got a PRP trigger kit right here, and the plastic covering that goes over the wiring got ripped off by the belt that came off of it one time, and frayed a little bit of this hose, this water hose right here. Not real bad, just the outside edge of it got a little uglied up. But anyway, that Ross tensioner should correct this problem. It may be kind of hard to see with the belt on right now, but the alignment from the, I can't even see the balancer down there. Once I get this belt off, I'll turn on the light, see if we can see that alignment a little bit better right there, and you can see how it's a little bit off. And press on putting this kit on, which I have right here. Let's take a quick look at it so you guys know what's involved with this thing if you decide you want to try it out. So this is the instructions that come with it. You got a couple of different engines here. Basically all it does is it has a different size spacer or none, depending on what you have. RP26 is here. So I'm gonna start with this one and see if the alignment's good. Gives you a rundown of what all comes in the box. This is Ross Performance. Some of you guys are familiar with them. Those that aren't, there's their contact information. And the kit itself, power steering idler. High quality looking stuff, I'm not gonna lie. So the main bracket itself here, good piece of billet of aluminum. And you got your different spacers here. And what we're gonna be using is that number 1. And you also have this number 2 for a lot larger, or to bring it out farther from the engine, or you can run without it. So you can just install this like that. But the one I'm using will space it out a little bit. So, and then it comes with the pulley itself. A little bit of hardware. Looks like you're gonna need some Allens to get those tightened up. So get you a set of Allen wrenches, get you a little tool set, and you should be able to get this thing together pretty easily. All right, so again, it's gonna be hard to see because again, I don't have my light on my phone here, but I'll try to bring up the light for you. So down here behind the power steering pump, you can see these 2 bolts right there. That's where your, I'm trying to brighten it up for you, but it's not really working that good, but that's where your, that bracket right there attaches to. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this belt off and see if we can get to those 2 bolts. All right, so if you've never taken the belt off of your R32 GTR before, the way it's gonna work is, looking at the power steering pump, you got a bolt right here, which is the top mount bolt for the pump. loosen this bolt, you can access it through these holes on the pulley, but you may have to bump your engine over to get it to line up like I have here. And then over here on this side, this is the adjustment. You loosen this up once you got that other bolt loosened, and this will allow the pump to swing forwards and backwards. But before you loosen that one, kind of down here, let's see if I can get you down there to it. Right below the power steering pump. Hopefully you can actually see that. But there's another little bolt right there. You can see the bolt pass through that you're going to be turning from the other side to loosen it. But there's a bolt right there that kind of locks it in place directly below the pulley. Sorry for that crap quality, but it is kind of right down underneath the pulley back here. And again, there's those two bolts we're going to mount our new idler to. So loosen that, loosen this one down here underneath, turn your tensioner right here, and then this whole pump will push down and you can get the belt off. Okay, I got this thing loosened up, and just for your gee whiz information, this top bolt is a 14 mil, and then that bottom one and the side adjuster right here are 12s. So basically get that thing loosened up where you can get a lot of thread sticking out on it right there. And you take this whole pump and just put your hand on it and push it down. And it takes tension off of that belt. That way you can pop it off. Sometimes you gotta loosen this thing up quite a bit to get enough movement on your pump. And of course, doing it with two hands is not easy. So I'll probably just drop the phone here for a second, or maybe I can get it to come off. Okay, there we go. Belt off there. Belt off down there. Okay. I don't remember, it should be on here actually, what size it is. Okay, so the standard power steering belt is a 950, I think that's what, millimeter? Is that what they're measured in? Can't remember. The Ross kit has a longer belt. You can buy it with the kit if you'd like. Right here it's $9.90. And it comes with this gator back belt, which I'm probably not gonna continue to use. I'll probably order another standard belt, as I was warned that these belts will not squeak, the quiet belt. So if you have it too loose, you won't know it. So in this situation, you would like to have a regular belt that will squeak if it's too loose. That way you know you need to tighten it or it's not tight enough. So, but I'll just go with this for now. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and work on getting these other two bolts out down there on that tensioner, and then put our Ross, I'm sorry, not on the tensioner, on the power steering pump, and then we'll put our Ross tensioner bracket on. All right, again, so per my application, RB26, I'm gonna use this diagram. Okay, so it tells you a couple washers and these two bolts. And then there are two different size main bolts here and here. For the bigger adapter, if you're using it right here. Again, I'll turn this on the side so you can see the difference in those two size, these two adapters. If you're using this larger adapter, you lose a longer bolt. So we're going with this bolt, right through the middle. Tighten it down. Pulley goes on first. And then it also gives you your torque specs on here, 60 Newton meters, 32 Newton meters for small ones. So get this thing put together and see what it looks like before we put it on the car. All right, so there you are, bolted on. No washer on the front of that or the back of that. That pulley just sits right inside the bracket on top of the spacer, and tighten it down, 60 Newton meters. Stick the other two bolts through there. That's ready to go. Just got to get those two bolts off of the power steering pump down there, and we'll stab it on. All right, well, there it is installed down there. Pretty straightforward, simple install. I do recommend putting that center bolt in, that pulley, and torquing it down before you put it in the car, because there is not much room between that and your fan to get that tight. So
I did the best I could. Now let me see if I can see the alignment on these pulleys here. It's going to be really hard to tell on a video. It's almost impossible, but it does look like this is going to work like it should. And the concept of this is, if you don't understand, basically what happens is, I'll use this belt for an example. You got your power steering pulley up here, and you got your crank down here. I'm just going to hold this with my foot, and it goes around the two pulleys such in this way. When you add that tensioner in there, this is going to be fun to do, but it'll just push down in the middle of this belt, basically increasing how much of that belt touches this top pulley. So if you push this top part down, it's kind of going to wrap it around that pulley a little bit more. Same thing with this one down here. It wraps it down around it a little bit more, gives it more contact area, and hopefully that helps eliminate throwing belts. As well, like that pulley will kind of try to keep it centered from moving left to right so much while you're going. So I'll throw this belt on and then crank it up and see how it looks. Okay, ran through a little snag, and I figured I'd share it with you because it could happen to anybody. I mean, things happen as you go. So I had the belt on here. I was struggling to kind of get it to actually fit over the top of this pulley. So I was pushing this pump down as far as I could, and my car is modified where the reservoir is moved up here to the front. The connection came apart when I pushed the pump down. Right here was just a little nipple in between the two hoses to connect this low side to the tank. And when I pushed the pump down, it pulled it off of this nipple right here. And in turn, you probably could see it already, but I lost all of the fluid in my reservoir. So I'm gonna pause for now, go buy some more fluid, put this belt on, tighten the pump up, and then reconnect that hose down there and see if I can get it to connect better than it was, so I can eliminate that from happening again, and hopefully finish up. Okay, so after a little bit of fighting, this belt is on. If I was able to purchase my own belt, which I will be doing, I'll probably buy one size bigger than this one because it's really too tight, almost too tight to slip over this pulley. With the pump as loose as you can get it and push down as far as you can, it's still real hard to get over it. So maybe a 1000 rather than a 990 would fit a little better. Give it a shot later and see, but it's on now. Should do its job. Puts a nice little bend in that belt right there. I wish I could get a better shot of it straight on, but instead of it just coming right off the top of this pulley and heading straight down there to the crank, it wraps around quite a bit more. Same thing down there on the crank. So I'm gonna start it up real quick and see if this stays on like it should. So because of the pump being so much lower now on mine, because I told you before I had this reservoir modified up here to the front, the hose right there is what separated on me last night, and it goes over. You can see the little nipple sticking out, comes over here, and that other hose connects to the pump there. And now that my pump is so low with that belt being so tight, it wouldn't really reach up good, so I just shaved a piece of this hose off to shorten it, and that should bring it up high enough to go into that other hose. So I'll hook that up real quick, and then we'll get it started up and check for leaks. And of course I got to refill my reservoir. Normally you wouldn't have to do that, but refer back to earlier in the video. Give it a start, see how it works. that. Probably gonna need some more fluid. All right, got that reservoir refilled, got the system bled. Pulley's down there doing work. You can kind of see where it rides right along the center of the pulley there. So, give that some time, see how it works. All right, going a little quick ride to test it out. So far, so good. I'm in a pretty low speed area, so I'm not going to be gunning it too hard or anything, but I'm just checking for any squeals or strange noises that it may be making. Everything's quiet and smooth. Let's see if I can get a little bit of first gear RPM. Checking one more time for any leaks. I don't see anything, I don't smell anything, I don't hear anything. So that should be good. A wrap on that. Okay, so overall I think the Ross kit's pretty good. I didn't see any problems with it, no fitment issues. Nothing really stood out to be a problem. As for feedback to them, they did their research and their testing and stuff, and it paid off. The only thing that I personally would probably do different or recommend different, if you're gonna buy the kit, probably don't get that belt. That belt is just a little bit too snug, in my opinion. I'm used to the pump being adjusted a little bit higher. The original belt, the 950 belt, that pump is quite a bit higher up in its adjustment than it is with that 990 belt, with that tensioner. So maybe a 1000 or something like that would just give you a little bit more room to move the pump up, but it's still within its swing. It's still good to go as it is. It's just really hard to get it on, because the pump don't go down quite far enough to slip it on real easily. But I mean, that's not that big of a deal in all reality. So I recommend the kit. If you're having your belt fly off, that's one option. There's some other options out there, such as a AC pump kit that can push the pump up and align it with the power steering belt and stuff, and you'll run one belt instead of those two separately. I would like to see, and maybe it is available, just let me know if I'm missing it. Maybe some of you know, but maybe there's a kit out there that actually bumps the power steering forward or back a little bit. Power steering pump bracket, I guess. That way, you know, you may not need a tensioner to fix that problem. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that install process. It was a little bit fun, a little bit challenging, a little bit of a pain in the butt, especially with the fluid dumping on the ground. I mean, things happen, right? So you live, you learn, you make mistakes, you press. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, and share. Show everybody, you know, if you got somebody that's interested in doing something like that, hey, I got this video, check it out, this dude did it. If I did something wrong, let me know. If I did something the hard way, let me know. I'm not perfect, so I'll take advice from others. And if you dislike the video, dislike it and tell me why in the comments. We'll talk about it. So until the next video, take care. I'll see you then.